Okay, once again, we're playing Moonless Moon, which is a text-based adventure game, but I prefer to call it like a playable anime music video game developed by Japanese indie studio Yokaze. Shall we jump right into it? Yeah. The music is like giving me such a vibe. I feel like I'm the radio DJ host of some like late night lo-fi radio station. Let's go though. I'm excited. Back to the reading. Out of the shadow of the railway bridge and into the sunset-tinged light she walks. It feels like stepping into a whole different world. I take it back. I'm not a radio DJ. I'm a... I'm a... feel like I'm a audiobook narrator. The bustle of the people coming and going around the station hits her like a sharp gust of wind. The thick fog of loneliness surrounding her is blown away instantly. The light shines right into Yomichi's eyes. She squints and lets the flow of people carry her forward. The station is always crowded at this time of day. Lots of people, lots of reasons for being here. People riding on their train home, people who have just arrived here, people who just stand there waiting for someone. I'm gonna make myself a bit smaller. Is it too small? Hold on. Just a tiny bit. It's okay, I'm reading anyway. Even if I block the thing, you're gonna see it. Yomichi liked it that way. The endless stream of stimuli flooding her sight and hearing kept her brain too busy to think. When she's surrounded like that, she almost forgets who she is. That's a huge weight off her mind. And from the era when computer games were text-based on Commodore 64, damn. I have a soft spot for like text-based games also. But she liked being under the bridge or in smaller alleys just as well. One road away is all it takes. The crowd feels silence. If you listen closely, you could still hear them, but it was only a muffled roar from a distant world. You could look at the wind trying to rip off the tattered posters on the walls and think about yourself in peace and solitude. The night has almost arrived at the station. The sun slowly goes off to be replaced by the city's lights. Yomichi strolled, waiting for the dark. Now, this station isn't close to either her home or her school. The chances of meeting anyone she knows are very, very low. The art, though. The sun disappears between the buildings, leaving the sky black. Yomichi keeps walking. The things around her lose their shadows and their silhouettes become blurry. In come the streetlights, helping those things cast shadows again. And then she loses track of where she is. She's on the moon? Wait, before she knows it, she's walking in a desert. The moon's expanse of white sand and rock spreads in all directions. The sky up above is lit by endless faint stars, but there is no moon to join them. Far away toward the horizon, a blur of light wavers like a mirage. You could think it was a reflection on the distant sea, but she knows it's a large moon city. She has never been there, and she couldn't even guess how many days it would take to walk all the way to it. A white desert and a black sky. Those are the only two colors she can see. She feels she could walk for hours with no addition to the palette. And yet she keeps going, treading along as if on a familiar path. This is so gorgeous. Oh, gameplay. She realizes something? She's not the only one Through this silent world where something cannot flow. Okay, you're about to play a riddle. Find keywords. Okay, you can place keywords in the question mark slots. Oh. Rocks. Here and there, the white sand is spotted by rocks of the same color. She tries to pick one up, but immediately crumbles into dust. Did all of this sand used to be solid stone once? It certainly doesn't feel that way. This place feels too quiet for time to actually move forward. I think time goes here. Yomichi squints at the buildings, wondering if people live there. But the city is too far for the dark silhouettes of people to stay in the light from the windows. Even if there were people, walking all the way to them would take her days. Walking, I guess? Well, it's not stars. So I guess that's that. Drag and drop them directly where you want to place them. I did. So how do I move forward? Or is it wrong? Where stars cannot flow? So mystery, once you correctly complete the sentence, you'll be able to move forward. Maybe I completed it wrongly. So this is just like going more in detail for the red words. Hold on. During riddles, you can place... Is it because I solved the puzzle too soon? Maybe if I skip. No? I might have to skip. Hold on. Let me try and reset. I'm not really sure what I'm doing correctly or wrongly. Hold on. Also, I love this like fake IKEA logo. Okay, it brings me back here. Perfect. Okay. So let's do this thing now where we find all the keywords first. Before I put in the solution. And then there was stars, right? So walking, she realizes something. She's not the only one walking through this silent world where time cannot flow. Okay. I figured it was a sequencing issue. I was like jumping ahead. Eventually, she hears footsteps other than her own. Oh, Yomichi! A new outfit already? Who is this? Turn around and there she is. Just bought these yesterday. Aren't they cute? Well, they're unique. She utters lazily with her hazy eyes pointed at the print on Yomichi's shirt. But Yomichi knows that she's more interested than she shows to be. You know, I've been wondering, you live in that city over there, right, Madobe? That I do. Isn't that far? I guess you could say it is. How do you come all the way here then? Madobe gazes at the mirage-like city she just said she lives in. Did you know? She asked with sudden impertinent smile on her face. Know what? That skipping along makes you faster? Almost as fast as light. I didn't know that. I knows. Yomichi tries skipping, but each step still only brings her one step forward. There's animation, dude. Oh my god, is this a music video? So apparently this game has like all original music, which is amazing. Is it more like a visual novel? In a way. Also notes, this is not the stream for that. Please control yourself. I think it's mostly like a visual novel, but there seems to be some puzzle elements. This is so nice. I immediately need this entire playlist in my playlist. Also, yeah, I'm going to AMG. Imagine if Twitch struck me down right now. But it's original music written for the game. It should be fine. Their AI bots cannot ID it, then there's nothing to worry about. Probably. This really is just like playing an anime music video. This is so cool. Ooh. Oh, look. Okay. Once school is over, Yomichi chooses her shirt for the day, puts it on, and leaves the house. You can still see the sun in the sky. Her destination is a park not far from her home. It's a small park in the residential area with little to boast other than a rusty slide and a dirty bench. A sad place she's never seen children play in. She sits on the slide's ladder and pulls out her phone. It's not worth it to risk the bench considering how it's almost always wet. Friends from her class are talking about next week's test in a group chat. They ask her if she remembers what was supposed to be in the test, to which she replies with a simple nope. What little sky is left uncovered by the old houses around the park starts turning red. Eventually night comes. The shadows inside the park merge with the darkness outside. As the wind seems to take away the last ray of light still hitting the city. Is this a tunnel? Yomichi finds herself standing inside a dark tunnel. It's dark in front of her, dark behind her, just dark all around. Once her eyes get used to the darkness, she notices there's a very faint light seeping in through the top of the tunnel. It's a green light, not quite sunlight, not quite fluorescent lamplight. She stretches and starts walking through the tunnel she already knows so well. When night falls, she finds herself in new worlds. She doesn't even remember when this all started, but she's pretty sure it didn't used to happen when she was a little girl. It probably was around the time she entered middle school. In any case, if she's alone at night, she'll suddenly get transported to some unusual place. Is it her mind traveling? Is her body also coming along for the ride? She has no idea. At first, she thought they were just weird dreams. Then she started worrying she was going insane. But eventually, she got used to it. She can't predict where she'll be transported or when, but she doesn't get surprised anymore when it happens. She has made friends through these travels, and now she can even walk through an eerily lit tunnel without a care. There are openings in the concrete walls. They're large enough for someone to walk through. Voices come out of them. Shouts. Whispers. After going past a few of these openings, she finally finds the one she was looking for, marked by an unassuming sign hanging on top of it. She crouches and walks inside. Good evening, she says. Oh, hello there. Oh, it's a different character. The apron-wearing young man behind the counter smiles at her. Who was that? There aren't any other customers tonight. Shortly after she sits in front of the counter, the bartender serves her a cup of coffee. Along with the steaming cup, he hands her a shallow glass container. It kind of looks like an ashtray, but isn't one. Yomichi is too young to smoke anyway. She slides the container to right below her face and looks into it, empty and polished to a mirror sheen. Huh. She grabs the cup and takes a sip. Yomichi never particularly liked coffee. She got used to the aroma because her parents drank it every morning. But no matter how many times she tried it, she just couldn't enjoy that bitter a taste. The coffee they served here, however, was the exception. The flavor was rich and complex, and you didn't need any sugar or milk to mask the bitterness. One time she even asked the bartender if he did anything out of the ordinary to make it taste like that. When he replied, nothing special, she knew that it was a humble way to tell her that he put in a lot of effort in choosing the beans and extracting the coffee, while also implying that there was no secret ingredient. The coffee is as bitter and deep in flavor as usual. After one sip, she puts the cup back on the counter. As she enjoys the aftertaste, she notices that tears have started streaming down her cheeks. She wasn't sad nor happy enough to justify tears. The coffee's flavor was comforting, yes, but that was no reason for crying. And yet, every time she tasted the coffee here, she felt so warm inside that she ended up crying. She stares blankly in front of her, waiting for the tears to subside. After traversing her whole face, the tears drop down and into the glass container. That was the currency here in this world. The bartender gives you coffee and you pay him in tears. She's seen other customers here before and they all did the same thing. They'd fill the glass container with tears even when they were in the middle of a pleasant conversation. Once they were done, they'd give the container back to the bartender. That happened in all of the shops inside this tunnel world. There was no money except for tears. Do you think that's his secret ingredient? Do you think that it's nothing about the coffee making her cry? It's just that the way this world works. In her day world, you cry when you feel moved. Here, you cry when somebody gives you something. She feels that the bizarre rules of any world she visits also apply to her for as long as she stays there. The same was true of the moon world where she met Madobe. She could breathe just fine despite having no air to breathe. Moving from a world to the next changes a lot of things. But the thing is, you get used to pretty much anything eventually. At first, crying in front of people felt extremely embarrassing, but now she doesn't mind it much, because in this world, it isn't much. Dude, I need the soundtrack. She turns her teary eyes upward and sees the bartender cleaning a cup. Now, she never speaks of her world while she's in this shop, but the first time she found herself here, she had started talking about it. The bartender wasn't in the least bit surprised, but he also looked like he could not care less. He treated every customer the same regardless of who they were and where they came from. That was his policy. Bye, Nose. That made her feel comfortable, which is why she often came back and started following that rule herself. Mind if I talk to you, Hoshi? She has forgotten how she came to know this, but the bartender's name is Hoshi. Of course, nobody even bothers asking that, you know? Is it weird? Sorry, I'm not used to this kind of place. Oh, don't worry, I'm not used to it either. He turns toward her with a look of genuine confusion on his face. How long have you been doing this? Half a year. Really? But the first time I came here was about half a year back. I probably just started then. That's surprising. There were a lot of people who looked like regulars at the time. They're just people who like looking like regulars. I even get first-time customers asking for the usual. What do you serve them then? I just guess. And they don't complain? Oh, they don't. They have no idea what they want either. By the way, do you mind if I have something to drink too? Sure, go ahead. Hoshi crouches down and opens a cabinet below the counter. What were you doing before opening this place? Good question. What was I doing? Music, I think? I probably made a living out of music. Probably. So you were a musician? You could say that. That's so cool. It isn't really. I only lasted a year or so. Still cool. So, you did something else before that? Before that, I drifted around for a couple of years. He stands back up and places a bottle of orange liquid on the table. It looks like liquor at first glance, but it's actually just orange juice. Most people around here do it. We work for a few years and then use that money to travel for a few years. Mostly we're trying to get to the end of the tunnel. And when we're out of money, we find a new job nearby, rinse and repeat. Yomichi looks at the reflection of her face on the bottle. I just opened up shop here because I found the place empty. The bottles and such were all here to begin with too. So it was already a coffee shop before you came here? Yes, everything here belonged to someone else. The glasses, this apron, everything. Is there anything you brought here then? My clothes, I guess. I don't bring anything with me when I travel. Isn't that scary though? Hoshi stares at Yomichi. How so? I mean, you have no idea where you'll end up tomorrow. Indeed. Well, do you? I don't. Just thinking about what Hoshi has just said makes Yomichi feel uneasy in a way she can't quite put into words. The first thing she could come up with was talking about her dreams for the future. I guess I'll just find a job and keep working there forever. In the meantime, I get married, then get old. Normal stuff. Isn't that why everyone worries so much about the future? If everyone lived as freely as you do, there'd be no point in worrying at all. You have a point. I can't say I ever worry about it. All I can do is deal with the present. This is so relatable and depressing. Except the marrying part. Why, you don't want to get married, Artemis? Hoshi pours the orange juice into a tall glass. The juice is cloudy and the color is uneven. That doesn't mean it's not a good choice for you. Finding a single place to work and sticking to it could work. I get bored really fast though. You really are the carefree type. Doesn't that make everything easier? Yomichi isn't so sure about that. She isn't even sure there's a correct answer to that question. While Hoshi's lifestyle sounds easy, she couldn't help but feel worried about having no clear path in her life. In her case, that sense of uneasiness would be stronger than the enjoyment she could get out of it. And maybe a few years from now, she'll see this with different eyes. You'd like to get married? Haven't found the right one? You will. At least, all the people around these parts are like this. They just can't stay put in a place and grow roots. We just go with the flow, like water. It's nice not to have to think about where you'll end up next. Yomichi is starting to get convinced about the merits of that lifestyle. So, you'll move out of here eventually? I sure will, when I get bored of it, or when I have enough money set aside, whichever comes first. Aw, that's sad. Why? I'm sure this place will get a new bartender in no time once I'm gone. The look of genuine confusion on his face makes Yomichi realize that for the people of this world, this is the normal way to think about things. Say, what's at the end of the tunnel? No idea, but I've never seen anyone come back after getting to the end, so I'm sure there's something. Which way is the end? To the right as you leave the shop. Hoshi empties the cup of orange juice in one go before making an utterly terrified face. Oh, this is no good. Shouldn't be this sour. Yomichi laughs. That reminds me, I have kombucha in the fridge that I haven't drank. I should get it after this. Haha, a puzzle. Okay. It is only the two of them in the shop. The only sound is the faintly playing record. She can't even hear any voices coming from the neighbors. She can see the steam coming out of the coffee cup. When she's here, she finds herself staring at things she normally wouldn't even notice. Is there another word somewhere? Oh, there. Record. What's this song? Yomichi asks after seeing the record player spinning in a corner of the room. Who knows? I just found it here. Hoshi replies without a hint of interest. Song? As the steam slowly rises out of the cup, she hears the song opening behind her. That's probably it, right? Record. Oh, neighbors. I've never been to the shop near this one. What is it? I wonder. I've never been there myself, Hoshi says while staring at the wall. It could be empty, or maybe just an apartment. There are also people just living here? Oh yes, sometimes we need a break. I'm not open every day either. If they don't have a sign on the door, probably isn't a shop. Was the sign also here to begin with? Oh no, I made that myself. Really? Wait, what did it look like again? Ah, don't force yourself to remember. I'm not that proud of it. Then it should be door opening. Ah, okay, I understand how the game works. The shop door opens and two customers walk in. Seeing this, Hoshi gets back to work. All the other customers do just as Yomichi. They drink their coffee, they pay with their tears, and they don't really talk about themselves. She doesn't know whether they are travelers from this world like Hoshi or people who stumbled in here from another world. What she does know is that nobody here would carry their way. She's sneaking a glance at the customers as they order their drinks in between chatting. Suddenly, her phone buzzes in her pocket. She is disappointed. She hasn't even finished her coffee yet. She looks at the screen and sees a text from her parents. What time are you coming home today? The usual short question. She turns off the screen with a sigh. When she looks up, she sees Hoshi pouring a fresh cup of coffee, and his hands are perfectly still. Actually, everything is perfectly still, even the faces of the other customers and the liquid dropping from the coffee siphon. It's like being inside a painting. The shop she felt so comfortable in now gives her that kind of anxiety you get when meeting with a complete stranger. Then everything starts moving again. Instants later, it all silently crumbles. It's like a sandcastle being destroyed or like fog being blown away. Everything around her, as if it was made from something lighter than sand but heavier than fog, gets blown away by a wind that goes to nowhere in particular. It all collapses, melts together, and disperses so thin that you can't see it anymore. When she tries to touch the still half-full cup of coffee in front of her, it disappears as if she had tried to grab a puff of smoke. Oh, she's back. She's sitting by herself on the bench in the park she was in before. A lone streetlight coldly shines down on her. Her pants are wet because of the bench. It's uncomfortable. Do you get a music video after every chapter? Oh, not every chapter. Maybe just the first one? This is nice though. Yomichi loves drinking coffee in the tunnel shop. She likes the eeriness of the tunnel. She likes how she'd end up crying even without any strong emotion, and she likes the way the bartender talks. She likes the moon world where Madobe lives just as much. How do you skip? What? You can't skip? It's not like I can't. Yomichi skips 3 times and overtakes Madobe. See, I can do it, but it's just normal skipping. What's that thing about being faster than light? Seeing other people skip is kind of funny. Sheesh. What she likes the most is strolling through that empty landscape while making small talk. When she's doing that, she feels more at home than when she is in her actual living room or when she's talking with her classmates at school. She rarely speaks to Madobe about her life in the day world, but she feels like the kind of person that you could talk about anything with. Yes, she can talk about what she really wants to with Madobe. Skipping is like, well, do you ever watch videos on your phone? Yeah, of course. Also, I should take my meds before I forget. And you can skip ads and such, right? Is she saying that skipping is like skipping ads? Yeah? It's the same thing. You instantly move forward in time by skipping. Wait, that's also skipping, but is that what you meant? It is. Madobi laughs so hard that she squints. She looks like she's having so much fun that Yomichi can't help but laugh as well. She knows that Madobi makes no sense most of the time. Maybe she's doing it on purpose. Maybe it's the rule of this world, just like the weird rules in the tunnel world, and Yomichi, as a newcomer, doesn't get it yet. Hold on. What even is this world? Why is she here? Yomichi has no clue. Walking around in here makes her feel at ease, but with a faint, melancholy aftertaste. These worlds she stumbles into disappear at the drop of a hat. All it takes is her phone ringing or even just thinking too hard about day world, and it all goes away like fog in the wind. She can come back eventually, but she really has no say in the matter. Maybe tomorrow, when the sun sets, she won't actually get transported anywhere. Lately, she wonders whether it's okay for her to be in these places at all. Thinking that the fun she is chatting with Madobi could suddenly end forever is as sad as it is scary. Moreover, the thought that she only feels at home in these weird, ephemeral places is just as scary. Would she be fine if she lost the ability to visit them? Probably not. These worlds are already something that she cannot live without. There's another thought that she tries to shove away from her mind. Maybe she's the one who created these worlds. Children take in the stories of books and TV shows and start creating things in their imagination. Worlds where they are rescued by charming princes or where they live in a laid-back rural life in the forest. Could it be that she walked into a figment of her imagination? That would mean that no part of what she sees now is real. She would just be creating pleasant delusions to escape reality. Maybe one day, she'll have to forget about these worlds. Maybe she'll find somewhere in the day world where she feels at home and can live a normal life just like everyone else. But that day could very well be today. Still, she can't say goodbye to Madobi. She keeps half listening to weird, possibly fake tales with a smile on her face. Oh, that was a short one. It didn't even have a puzzle. Hi, Lambert. Yeah, I've had dinner already. We're checking out Moonless Moon, which is this Japanese indie game. We were given a key to check it out. I'm gonna be doing a lot of reading, ignore me. I mean, Don't ignore me. But this is a really good game to keep in the background while I radio DJ our way through this lo-fi game. Oh, Yomichi, welcome! New character? When she walks into the small chimney-crowned hut, Yomichi is greeted by a lady who was busy making soup. So cute! The lady covers the soup pot with a lid and opens a cabinet nearby. The shelves are full of all kinds of things, seemingly in layers, with the ones at the bottom looking as old as the shelves themselves, and getting more and more newer looking the closer to the top they get. The lady gets a small box from near the top of the cabinet and places it on the table in the center of the hut. There's a fireplace, a cabinet, and a table. There's also a small bed and a window that you can see the sky through. And that's all the furnishing of this tiny brick hut. Yomichi looks at the box. It's a small wooden box with a glass cover, and inside of it there's a single butterfly with beautiful green wings. The butterfly does not move. It's a replica. Yomichi takes the box in her hands and gazes at how the light reflects off of the butterfly's wings. When satisfied, she puts it back on the table and sits on one of the two chairs there. "Wanna eat something since you're here?" says the lady after going back to the pot. "Thanks, just a bit though," she replies. The lady with a childish laugh takes two shallow bowls out of the cabinet. Thought you were doing storytelling stream? You can type !game to see the Steam link if you want. Childish. That word feels somehow rude. With her shoulder-length wavy hair and her simple dress, the lady looks just as young as Yomichi. Her calm and subtly refined demeanor make Yomichi think that she is in fact a lady, quite a few years older than her. "Can I ask you something, Ito?" "Of course," she softly replies. Her hair hides her face, but Yomichi can guess that she's smiling. Everyone, including Yomichi, calls this lady Ito, but as it turns out, this is not her real name. She doesn't even have a real name. She doesn't need one. That's what she told Yomichi when the two first met. Why would someone living alone in a small hut need a name for? It's not like there's anyone calling for her, except, of course, for occasional guests like Yomichi, who resort to calling her Ito. Yomichi has to wonder what it feels like living without anyone ever calling your name. Why do you have chairs and dishes in pairs even though you live alone? Ito hands a bowl of soup to Yomichi, then sits down on the other side of the table. The soup glistens as if it were liquid gold. Because I get guests sometimes, like you, now. She laughs once again. The extent of her elegant and refined demeanor ended when she opened her mouth. Somehow to Yomichi, the way she spoke felt like the purest, most unadulterated way to speak. It had the purity of someone who naturally picked up on words by living alone in a hut. "Oh, but come to think of it, it's because I used to live with my mom here." "You have a mom?" "Of course, I didn't grow in a cabbage field." "No, yeah, I mean, so what about your dad?" Ito shakes her head. "That I don't have." "Did he pass away?" "No, I just never had one. It's just mothers who give birth to us by themselves. Naturally. I know it sounds weird, but that's how it is." Wow. Yomichi assumes that this is just another way in which this world's rules are different from her own. She knows that there are all kinds of worlds, and Ito is probably the only inhabitant of this one. All the guests that come to visit her do so from other worlds. This is actually how Yomichi first learned that there are other people able to travel between worlds. Not that she's ever run into one. Hmm. Yomichi brings a spoonful of soup to her mouth. The gold liquid tastes as precious as it looks. The large pieces of carrot and potato are cooked to perfection and melt in her mouth. Are all of these veggies from your field back there? Oh yes, I grew all of them myself. That's impressive. I only grow what I need to eat. I also use some ingredients that people brought me for the bouillon though. I only have sheep around here. People as in guests? Yes, sometimes they bring me stuff, like that butterfly. Ito points at the small wooden box with her gaze. This isn't the first time someone had given Yomichi a replica like this. Can I ask about that? Go ahead, as long as they're questions I know the answer to. Who brought you this and why? Did he ask you to give it to me? As for who, I can't quite remember. It wasn't even that far back, but I just forgot. Her usual smile makes it difficult to tell whether she's avoiding the question or she genuinely doesn't know. And I was told to give this, yes, but probably not to you specifically. If I recall correctly, I was told to give this to the next person to visit me. Yeah, I took my meds. After swallowing the soup, Yomichi goes back to staring at the butterfly's wings. Sometimes, people from other worlds give her insect replicas. Nobody ever told her the reason behind it, or why they are insect replicas specifically. All they tell her is to bring them back with her. They aren't even gifts per se, she's just keeping them for someone else, apparently. She had no clue where these replicas came from and where they were supposed to go, but she still went ahead and took them. Maybe this is yet another weird rule from another world. Still, it's a very small price to pay for this good of a soup. I'll let you know. I don't think so though. Thank you for the stretch and hydrate. Oh, it's a puzzle. Hmm. The sunlight coming in through the window, and the flames roaring in the fireplace enshroud the hut in a gentle light. The corners of the hut are always left in the shadow, but here, even that feels cozy. Okay. Hold on. Window. The glass panes on the window are perfectly clean, but the scene behind them looks distorted. Glass is a liquid, it just kind of distorts over time, Ito explains. For real? Who knows? But I heard someone say that it was. Oh, glass. Shadow. Flames. Fireplace? A crackling sound comes from the fireplace. Its wavering light dances on the ceiling. You cut the firewood yourself? Rarely. Some guests just bring it to me, and it's usually already the right size. Oh, so it's not from here. Of course, there are no trees here. There are no trees here. Okay, ceiling. If you got trees in the field behind your house, could you do without people bringing wood to you? I wonder. I feel that even if I planted trees there, they wouldn't grow. There have never been trees there after all. Yomichi wonders if the wooden spoon in Ito's hand was also brought here from another world. The furniture is only comprised of the bare minimum. Table, cabinet, a fireplace. Even though she looks like she has a lot of free time on her hands, Ito never looks bored. So fireplace is the same one. Time? What do you do in your free time? I spin wool from the sheep to make thread and such. That doesn't really sound like free time, doesn't it? Okay, look at the... Something reflected in the soup. Yomichi takes the spoon in her hand. Flames? Ceiling? Oh. Looking at the ceiling reflected into the soup, Yomichi takes the spoon in her hand. Followed by Ito's warm gaze, Yomichi takes another spoonful of soup. Ito? Yeah? You know there are worlds other than this, right? Obviously, yes. I'm the only person living in this one, she replies. The words themselves were blunt, but her voice was gentle and her smile kind. You also came from another world, didn't you? Yomichi nods slightly. Don't you ever want to go somewhere? See other worlds? Not really, she immediately replies. Why not? Well, why would I? Why do you think I'd want to do that? Because in other places there are other things? No, I bet there are, but I don't really feel like I want to go and see them. Yomichi worries she might have been unintentionally been rude to her, but the gentleness in Ito's voice just makes her too comfortable. What if those other things were better than what you have here? Yomichi asked her question without much confidence. After all, she's not sure she's ever seen any place better than this one. There probably isn't one. She wishes there were and hopes that she'll be able to find it in one of the many worlds that she hasn't been to yet. Sometimes people will ask me that. Ito replies with a gentle, somewhat aloof voice. But I just can't imagine a place more wonderful than this. What does that even mean? A larger place? A place with more stuff in it? No matter what I imagine, what I have here seems better. I like how cozy it is, and I have all I need. Of course, maybe I just say this because I don't know what is actually outside. Yomichi doesn't know how to reply to that. One time I said the very same thing to someone. They replied that they feel for me. Poor little thing, they said. Don't get it. I'm not sure why anyone would feel for me. You think I'm wrong, Yomichi? Me? Well... Oh, I'm not being sarcastic. I genuinely want to know. Should I really try to go somewhere? Would I find something better than what I have now? And mind you, I really can't imagine what better even means. She smiles at Yomichi, who can see her own reflection in Ito's eyes. They're bright and clear. Staring into them almost makes Yomichi feel inadequate. I'm sorry, I don't know. Yomichi looks down and finishes her soup. Ito, looking content, puts an elbow on the table and rests her chin on her hand. Her whole world is this hut, the field behind it and the small garden all around. It is complete in itself. She doesn't know about anything else and doesn't wish for anything else. If she traveled and found new wonderful things that she could start wishing for, would that make her happier? Yomichi thinks to herself while staring into the empty bowl. Yo. Ito is staring out of her one little window. I wonder if I should be more ambitious. Outside the window, the peaceful panorama seems to go on and on forever. So bright. After parting with Ito and leaving the hut, Yomichi stands outside, unsure of what to do. She's in the middle of a lush green prairie. Ito's small brick hut is like an island in an ocean of grass. Except for the small field behind the hut and the tiny stream flowing beside it, there is nothing but grass. No towns, no mountains, just grass. The breeze feels nice and the sky looks as wide as it could ever be, but the prairie and the stream don't actually go on forever. This is what has left Yomichi so confused. Not too far away from the hut, both just stop abruptly. This actually was an island in the sky. The small patch of brown with an even smaller heart in the middle of it is the extent of Ito's world. Yomichi can't go back. There's no back to go to. She walks away from the hut and lies down on the grass. To say the truth, Yomichi knows how to go back. She could just text a classmate on her phone or think about the homework she has to turn in tomorrow. That would send her straight back to her own world, but she wants to stay here for a little longer. She wants a little more of that sunlight coming through the sparse clouds, of the fresh smell of the grass, of that not quite wind, not quite breeze. She loves this world. The sunlight has never felt so pleasant in the day world. She has never laid down the grass there. She loves the moon, the tunnel, the island in the sky, way more than the day world. She isn't that uncomfortable in the day world. She has kind friends and teachers at school. Her parents, as far as she can tell, are always putting her first. The way they're always asking when she's coming home is a bit annoying, but she understands that they do it because they love her. It's an average, happy environment to live in. But nowhere in that world can she find a place as comfortable as this deserted prairie. Nor can she find someone who she can talk to as freely as she can with Madobi. To her, this very fact feels wrong. She's scared that one day she'll wake up from this dream and will have to go on living, bound to just one world. That is the world she was born in. She has no choice but to live in that one. I shouldn't be wasting time like this, she tries to persuade herself. She feels the world around her growing distant. She feels like she doesn't belong. She feels sad about laying down here. She tries to shake off these feelings, but she can't. Suddenly, everything crumbles into dust and fog. The whole world turns into sand and disappears. But she feels that she is the one crumbling. After all, the only thing that is disappearing is what her, Yomichi, sees. After everything has completely disappeared, she finds herself staring at the shining stars in the sky. She's laying down on the rooftop of her apartment. The pleasant smell and soft texture of the grass are nowhere to be found. The hard concrete floor hurts her back. The only thing remaining of that world is the butterfly replica in her hand. So she just has like a collection of insects. Interesting. Also, that was the end of chapter 1. I got an achievement for it. It seems like there are 4 chapters. Cool. Good night, Artemis. I might take a break and make coffee in a while. Next day, when Yomichi wakes up in her room, she can no longer find the butterfly replica. The empty box is still on her desk where she put it last night. The lid is still closed and intact, but the butterfly somehow isn't there. It's as if, during the night, it came alive and magically escaped through the glass. This happens every time she brings back an insect replica from another world. The insect just disappears while she's not looking. She once tried to apologize for this to the person who'd given it to her, but she was met with laughter, so that was probably intended. Still, she can't understand what this is all about or where the butterfly has gone off to. She puts the empty box away into a drawer. She has a few of them already in there. She could throw them away, seeing how the important part is the replica inside, but she stores and treasures them. After all, that's the only thing she can bring back from the world she visits. Now they are proof of her connection to those places. One day, they will be a memento. Coffee time? Maybe. There's no school today, so Yomichi wears a shirt that she just got yesterday and goes out. She's riding the train to her usual station, a large station full of people. It isn't even the largest station in the area, and it's a bit far from both her house and her school. She has no real reason to go there. The people going around town all have reasons, all have goals. Getting to work, shopping, having a secret meeting with someone. She happens to sit next to one of them. That's nothing but a coincidence. She doesn't talk to them. She doesn't look them in the eye, and she overall pretends that they don't exist. This is nothing like students bullying a classmate by pretending he doesn't exist. When you're crossing the street and someone is approaching you from the opposite direction, you step aside in order to avoid them so as not to hurt each other. That's what it is. She avoided everyone's gaze like an animal trying to convey that it isn't trying to threaten anybody. If anything, that is a way of connecting with people in itself. Kindness and avoidance, even. At the same time, no matter how many people she has around her, she always feels alone. Every single individual sharing this space with her is actually living in their own little world. She gets out of the station and into a smaller street where the buildings cut out some of the sunlight and most of the noise. Around her are fancy cafes, deserted thrift shops, stores dealing in unguessable goods, and multi-store buildings. She's never come here before, despite all the walking she's done around this city. There are still dozens of streets which are completely new to her. She keeps walking under the building's shade while peeking into the windows of the many intriguing stores. She sees someone walk around the corner. She could only catch a single glimpse of this person. But that glimpse was enough to surprise her. That person looked like Madobe. Yomichi stops walking. She's feeling something familiar, like when a world crumbles into dust before her eyes. She feels as if she's floating in midair. The world around her suddenly stops feeling real. But the day world doesn't crumble and disappear. Colors that seem to fade come back as soon as she blinks. She considers running after that person, but she doesn't. Madobe could never be in this world. It must be someone else who just happens to look like her. Maybe this person doesn't even look like Madobe all that much, but Yomichi felt she does because of how much she wants to see her. She sighs and drops her gaze to the floor. She feels her throat clenching. This feeling of pathetic sadness brings her on the verge of tears. She needs that world, so much so that she hallucinates its inhabitants even in broad daylight. Walking on that street seems to flip everything on its head. The real world now feels like an illusion, a dream, a distant mirage. I'm not fine, she thinks to herself. Relatable. She's addicted. Addicted to Madobe and all those other worlds. Those dreamlike worlds are starting to take over her reality. With no little effort, she keeps herself from just dropping down on the floor. After a while, she starts walking again. As she passes by it, she gives a quick glance to the alley that the Madobe lookalike walked in earlier. It was a dark, damp alley with nobody in it. Did you throw away the coffee in the fridge? No, I drank it. Like the other day. I wonder why I'm here. Yomichi asks to nobody in particular. She often finds herself asking that question whenever she's walking through the vast expanse, the moon desert. Nothing but sand all the way to the horizon. The stars and the dark canopy above have nothing to lit. It feels like being the only person in the whole universe. But if Yomichi is on the moon, that means that a certain someone is nearby too. Going through your philosophical phase? Medobi asked nonchalantly. Maybe I am. Whenever she comes here, Yomichi always runs into Madobe. She isn't trying to, after all. She still doesn't know how to get to that faraway city, and they aren't arranging it beforehand. But every single time, it just happens. Seeing her face is what makes this moon world feel complete. It's a difficult age to be at. Did you go through that phase too? Oh, I sure did. I'd be sighing my heart out even in deep dark nights like this one. Now as an adult, Yomichi says, unsure whether the dark sky above her is indeed a nightly one. Do you ever think that was silly of you? Sometimes I think back to it and start laughing. Madobe replies while walking with long white steps. But you know, that's fine. This phase is where you sigh night after night. It's not as long as you think. So who cares? Enjoy being a budding lady. Not sure enjoy is the right word. It is spoken like a budding lady indeed. Is she supposed to be older than her? Because they look the same age. Oh, shut up. Yomichi is shocked by how she can be so openly blunt. She and Madobe don't even know each other that much, nor do they have any idea of what the other does except for these long walks together. I don't have any idea what you're agonizing over so much. Madobe keeps looking straight in front of her. It's not like we're here laughing our hearts out because you solve all of our problems. Sometimes you're too busy, sometimes you just can't do enough, but still, here we are. So I'm not trying to preach, mind you, she continues, but hey, things be what they is, you know? It do be like that, you know? Yomichi does not, in fact, know. Have you actually been worried by anything lately, she asks. That sure is blunt. Sorry. Nah, I like your youthful honesty. Worries, huh? I'm up to my neck in those. Madobe raises a hand as if to start counting, but it takes her a good while before raising a single finger. For example, see, my favorite coffee shop just changed to some new beans. That's underwhelming. Yomichi wonders if the coffee shops on the moon are anything like the ones she knows. All she has seen here is this desert. By the way, why do you come out here in this desert? What, here? Just to walk. So far away? Well, yeah. Madobe sees Yomichi's eyebrow rising and starts laughing. Oh, I get it. It's nothing weird, really. It's like going for a drive or going to see the city by night. Same thing. Same thing? This desert? Girls who treasure their alone time love it. Duh. His explanation isn't very convincing, but if Madobe says it's popular in moon people, Yomichi has no choice but to believe her. Even at school, the games and books popular with the boys made no sense to Yomichi. She tells herself that this is more or less the same thing. The two keep walking together with just enough distance between themselves that they couldn't touch each other's outstretched hand, but barely. Hmm, okay. As she looks at Madobe's something, Yomichi remembers how the something looked. Okay, far away past the desert, there's a city. How many people are in the city? I'm not sure, I never counted. So there are so few that you could just count them? Okay, wait. Nah, that would be impossible. Look, can't you tell how big of a city it is? Are the people in the city normal humans like us? I guess they are. I'm not sure what you mean by normal, but they're just like the two of us. Like, they're not immortal or something. Oh no, I wish. I like being immortal. I'm not sure I like being immortal. Why not? I mean, what would I even do with all that time? Be free, fly around, like butterflies. I wish I had some of what you have, Madobe. Okay. Noise? Is the city as silent as here? Oh, not at all. It's so noisy. Noisy enough that I come all the way here to take my walks. Is that because there are so many people in there? Well, mostly it's construction sounds. Wait. Mostly it's construction sounds. The sound of the city getting bigger. Not so soothing, is it? Yomichi remembers that there's a construction going on in the alley behind her house as well. Yeah, not soothing at all. Right? I wonder whose idea it was to have pipes and cables running through the whole city. It made the whole place so noisy. I'm not sure we're on the same page here. Okay, no more clues. Could be because it's so far away, it's difficult to believe that Madobe actually lives there. You live in the city, right? What's your job? What? That's a secret. You can't tell me? I mean, it's more that it would be hard to explain. It's probably a job you don't know. Hearing this, Madobe's back suddenly feels like it's gotten far, far away, out of reach. Maybe Madobe's back? Alley? Ah, there we go. As she looks at Madobe's back, Yomichi remembers how the alley looked. Madobe's back reminds Yomichi of the person she saw earlier in the day world. That can't be her. Madobe lives on the moon and knows nothing about the day world. She could never be in that city. But the butterfly replica did make it all the way into her world. Maybe, just maybe, she could bring Madobe back with her as well. Yomichi closes the distance between the two and grabs Madobe by the hand. Moon lesbians? Moon Yuri? She explains that she wants to try something, and Madobe immediately agrees. So what should I do? Her eagerness is as unexpected as it is comforting. Even if she actually made it to another world, to her that would probably only count as a fun little trip. Instead of explaining to Madobe what she's trying to do, she tries thinking of how to actually do it. If anything, she's the one who would like an explanation. Assuming Madobe could come with her, what then? Yomichi asks herself this question before replying to Madobe, but she still doesn't know. What then? Probably nothing. If she walked around the day world with Madobe, it would probably all start feeling like a dream, just like these worlds feel during her normal day-to-day life. Nevertheless, she wants to try. Not sure what I'm trying to do myself, she lets slip as she tries to answer Madobe. Madobe breaks in genuine heartfelt laughter. Of course you don't. You're a budding lady after all. These words make Yomichi realize that she's not the only one to have suffered this indescribable feeling. That's enough to make the weight feel lighter. I guess you're right. Grateful for Madope, Yomichi decides that she'll try anything she can come up with. Maybe that will help her understand her own feelings better. It's not like there's anything better to do in this huge desert. But deep down, she knows that there's another reason why she's trying. She wants an excuse to give up and let go. This is really nice so far. It's very thoughtfully written. Okay, but I also need some coffee. So let me put like a small message up. I think instead of going to my usual waiting screen, I'll let you guys chill with the music because the music is so nice. I'm not entirely sure if I'll have stamina to play through the entire thing, but I do want to at least get through chapter 2 and give you like a solid idea of what the game is like. And then from there, if y'all like the game, you can go and get it yourselves and finish it off, you know. Okay, but I'm gonna get caffeine first because I still got things to do after this. Even after I'm done with this game. Okay, I'll be right back. Also, I noticed a lot of these are the same composer. For the next few days after that, Yomichi tried everything she could think of. She tried doing all kinds of things in that short time between the moon world starting to crumble away and it disappearing completely. Holding Madobe's hand, holding onto one of the empty insect replica boxes together, even calling a friend from the day world and giving the phone to Madobe. Day after day, she tried everything from things that sounded plausible to the silliest ones. But Madobe just couldn't come back with her. When the moon world disappeared, Yomichi was always alone. Seeing herself on an empty street without Madobe by her side always filled Yomichi with too much sadness for her to deal with. It felt like a happy, pleasant dream abruptly ending and shoving her back into reality. And she had to experience this over and over. Now Yomichi's all out of ideas for new things to try. She finds Madobe lying down in the desert. Her long hair is full of sand. Normally that would have you worried, but Yomichi just sits down next to her. She can see the city's blinking lights far away in the distance. Are there other cities on the moon, other than that one, she asks. Nope, that's the only one. Is it big? Yeah, well, maybe not. I don't know how big the city you live in is, so I'm not sure how it compare. In my world, it's just city after city. And there's no desert? I guess there is, somewhere. Well, people haven't been living here for that long. The city will get bigger eventually. Maybe there'll be no desert left after a while. Really? Weren't you born here then? I was, but my grandma wasn't. Did she come here with like a rocket ship for another planet? I'm not sure. People probably came here from all sorts of places because they thought it was nice. When enough people came, they founded a city. I wasn't there though, so I'm hazy on the details. Huh. Yomichi also lies down. The sand is soft enough to be surprisingly painless. It does kind of get into her clothes, but she has other things on her mind right now. You must have really liked this place to move all the way here. I wonder why. I mean, it's just a bunch of sand. Maybe they liked how quiet it is. Apart from their own, there was no voice to be heard. There wasn't even the sound of the wind blowing. I take it you don't like it here? I do. I love quiet places. That explains why you come so often. It's not like I can come because I want to. I can't choose where I go. Yeah, makes sense, Madobe says before closing her eyes. But I bet you get to come here because you like it. I wonder. That sounds reasonable. Some of the worlds she's visited before felt uncomfortable, but she never stumbled upon those twice. Yomichi closes her eyes as well. There isn't much of a difference between the endless black sky and the back of her eyelids. And then silent tears start falling out of those very eyes. She loves this world. Being here feels nice. She wishes she could stay here forever. But it isn't her world. She has to go back and live in the day world. She knows it's true, and on some level, she also knows it's the right thing for her. She can faintly hear the sound of Madobe breathing. She decides that this time will be the last. Oh, really? She came here tonight to say goodbye. But there's no need to say goodbye in this quiet world. She could just disappear and never see Madobe again. Eventually, she could forget her. She could forget this world. She could forget all those other worlds she's seen, and then she'd be able to grow up. Even if she ended up recalling them every once in a while, they'd just be distant memories of a childhood dream. Slightly embarrassing, slightly pleasant. She waits without a word. Even quieter than she expected. It's not as painful or as sad as she prepared herself for. A single tear, that's all. Oh, she's back. The silence of the moon's surface and Madobe's breathing give way to the city's chaotic noise. People talking, cars running, ads shouting. Everything gets fused together so much that she can't make out any individual sound. It was a huge jump from that silence to this noise, but she likes it as well. It makes her feel like she's back home after a long journey. She opens her eyes and she's in the middle of the city, under the night sky. Hmm. Aww. There's another music video. This game is so nice. I really like it. I wish there were more like Milo games like this in this region. Like this game is so Japanese. I guess the closest would be After Love EP that's coming out this year. It gave me not to say similar vibes, but it leaves you with the same kind of feeling. It's very music centric also. I thought you went to sleep, Sarah. Oh, what you have for dinner? MV's on YouTube. I wouldn't be surprised. I just love the concept of this in general. It's so nice. A shepherd's pie for second dinner. Nice. Oh, the butterflies. I guess the full songs that they got like commissioned for the game are these anime music videos, and then the music in between is all by one composer. It's good stuff. Oh, nice. Shall we move on? Chapter 3. She looks at the night sky through a window. It is silent and empty, but in a different way than the desert on the moon. Yomichi has spent the last few evenings in silent boredom. As long as she stays by herself, locked up in her room, she won't be transported to any other world. She doesn't know why, but she learned this through experience. She's so bored that she started going to bed earlier. She even goes out to play with her classmates after school more often now. Walking around town or going to karaoke with them is fun in its own right. Whenever she keeps herself connected to the day world, spending time with her classmates, running errands for her parents, and so on, she cannot go to the other worlds. She also learned this through experience. Her time spent in the day world has grown, and her nights are now for sleeping. Today, too, she's gone to bed early. It's only been a few days since she decided she would not leave this world anymore. But her memories of the other worlds are already starting to become fainter. She can't remember how it felt to cry while drinking coffee in the tunnel. The memory keeps getting further and further away, like a dream after one wakes up. Feels sad, feels lonely, but it beats growing melancholy every single night. Surely, one day her memories of this will be gone, taking the sadness with them. She's fine with this. Before falling asleep, she looks at the sky once more through the window, with its curtains still pulled back. In this world, there is no moon. Really? Oh, Moonless Moon? Roll credits. It's evening. A few more days have passed since then. After going out to play with her classmates after school, Yomichi is going back home right as the sun is setting. She started going toward the newly opened shop that she was interested in before realizing that it was further away than she thought and going back. She's exhausted from all the walking. When she gets close enough to her home that she can see the lights coming out of its windows, she sees a girl who looks to be around the same age as her. It's too dark to see her face clearly. Yomichi walks past her, but the girl quickly stops and turns back. Yomichi? Yomichi stops and turns back to face the girl. Huh? Asahi. Now that it's being lit by a streetlight, Yomichi recognizes the face. Or rather, she recognizes the face's owner. The face itself is much more grown up than she remembers, and stunningly beautiful. The girl in question is Yomichi's childhood friend, a year younger than her. She used to live nearby, and the two of them met on a daily basis. At the time, she was Yomichi's best friend. However, she had to move away because of her parents' jobs. The two girls were too young to have phones of their own back then, so they lost all contact. Her memory in that regard is a bit fuzzy, but somehow she remembers that this parting was not particularly sad. She was probably too young to understand that maybe the two of them would never meet again, and by the time she was old enough to understand it, she was already used to life without Asahi. The two sit together on a bench in a park nearby, and Yomichi explains her emotions, or lack thereof, at the time. In response, Asahi laughs. Seriously? I was pretty sad, you know? Well, everything around you changed at once. That's true, it really did. I was so nervous moving into this new place that I knew nothing about. New school and all. So, you weren't sad about not being able to see me anymore, huh? I'm sure that was part of it though. Pretty sure. Yomichi laughed sarcastically. That probably only lasted until you made new friends, right? Can't deny that. Talking with her fills Yomichi with nostalgia. The more clearly the memories of that time resurface, the more Yomichi realizes how much she herself has changed since then. Even if it's only been a few years, she feels like a completely different person. And the same applies to the old friend she's looking at right now. She's not the Asahi she used to know. Why are you here, by the way? Are you moving back? No, I just had some business around here and I thought I'd check things out. Oh, I see. Yomichi realizes how relieved she is at hearing that. This place hasn't changed much. It's still how I remember it. Is it? I guess it is. She almost says it. You have definitely changed though, but she manages not to. She doesn't know what exactly has changed in Asahi. She looks a bit more grown up. Her high energy voice has gotten calmer, but that's not all. Now, Yomichi doesn't know how she's supposed to talk to her anymore. To hide that fact, she fills in the silence as best as she can. How's the place you live in now? Not so bad. It's a bigger city than this. Oh. Yomichi only says that and even forgets to close her mouth. She's forgotten what she meant to say next. After all this time apart, surely they must have a lot of things to talk about, but not a single one comes to mind. Asahi pulls out her phone and starts typing away on it. She doesn't seem to mind the silence as much as Yomichi does. Yomichi feels like she's talking to someone from another world. Maybe in a sense she is from another world. Yomichi doesn't know much about the place Asahi lives in now, but it's bound to be different from here. Different people, different trends, different news, different music, different shops. Even the way people speak could be a bit different. In reality, it can't be that different. Yomichi knows this. But the gap between them feels so wide that this is the only way she can explain it. And yet, how could she have such an easy time talking to Madobe, who literally came from another world? She never felt so uncomfortable having a conversation with her. Whatever nonsense Madobe suddenly threw at her, she could reply on the spot, even though their worlds are just that far away. Yomichi still struggles to find the next topic. After a short while, Asahi says that it's time for her to go back. Neither of them mentions the possibility of exchanging numbers. Yomichi remains on the bench thinking by herself. She starts wondering if she spoke of this to Madobe, what would she say? Do you think she's gonna travel again? Yomichi is glad that this world has no moon. If she was actually forced to see it hanging in the sky each night, she wouldn't have been able to stay indoors. Ever since meeting Asahi, she keeps wondering the same things. Why does speaking with Madobe come so easy to her? And what exactly is that world? Where is it? She believes that if the world is indeed somewhere, that somewhere is inside of her. The creation of her own mind. In other words, a dream. I wouldn't explain how she could bring back the boxes with the insect replicas inside, but that isn't so important. Maybe she was sleepwalking and had actually bought them for herself without realizing it. The possibility that this is all there is to it instantly fills her with dread. She cannot come to terms with her desire to talk to Madobe again. If it had all just been a delusion, then she belonging to speak with herself. It would be hilariously sad. On the other hand, that would explain what she felt when talking with Asahi. If Madobe was just a figment of her imagination, it made sense that Yomichi felt at ease talking to her, since in practice, she was having a whole conversation just by herself. Yomichi lies down in her room and looks at the moonless sky outside. She never dreams of Madobe. One afternoon, on a day off from school, Yomichi gets a delivery. It's a small package without the sender's name. It's addressed to her, but she has no idea what it could be. Since her family isn't home, weird as it is, she has no choice but to accept the delivery herself. She then goes back to her room. Sitting on her bed, she opens the package. It's a box with an insect replica inside. I had a feeling. The insect is a butterfly with white wings. It's exactly the same as the boxes she had received many times during her travels in other worlds. A small wooden box with a glass lid. She's surprised and confused. When she looks at the back of the box, she becomes even more surprised. There's another recipient's address written on there. It reads, Moon City, Madobe. Her head starts spinning so fast that she has to lie down. It must be a dream. No doubt she wanted to see Madobe so badly that she has started to dream of her. After all, her delusions were so strong. Oh my god, she's just telling herself that she's Delulu. No! But maybe it's Trululu. Her delusions were so strong that she used to end up in different worlds each night. A simple dream isn't much by comparison, she's sure of it. Disappointed in herself, she just sleeps. When she wakes up, the box is still there. The butterfly, too, is still inside of it. Yomichi entertains an idea. Maybe the butterfly is waiting for the box to be delivered to its actual destination before flying out. So she's gonna go to Moon City. There's another game that I want to play that was kind of like this that I bought recently and maybe I will play it. I think it's called OFK. But it's like a it's meant to be like a interactive music video type thing, also visual novel kind of thing, but it's Western. For a while after that, everything felt like a dream, whether she was asleep or awake. When she wakes up, it definitely looks like a normal morning, but then seeing the wooden box on her desk, it goes back to feeling like a dream. Even at school, when she's chatting with her classmates, she's always thinking of the moon world. It would be as easy as hiding or throwing away the insect replica box, but she can't. I wonder what walking on the moon feels like. Ended up saying that to a classmate was the tipping point. She knew she had to face the box once and for all. But then, okay, wait, hold on. If the moon doesn't exist in her world, and she says the moon, would it be kind of like, I wonder what it's like to walk on Sesame Street, but like not even Sesame Street because Sesame Street exists? Like, you know what I mean? Would it be like, it's like asking what do you think it's like on Tatooine, right? I don't know. But like for something that doesn't even exist. Huh. She knew she had to face the box once and for all. It's been a week now from when she received it. This is a box that was delivered to her here in the day world, but for some inexplicable reason, it had Madobe's name on it. Is Madobe's world more than just a delusion? Is it actually real? If so, whoever sent her that box must also be able to travel through worlds, right? However, the delivery didn't have the sender's name on it. There was no label number to look up information with either. Furthermore, when she tried looking up the delivery service that brought it to her, it didn't even show up on the internet. She decided that if she ever got another package from them, she would ask directly. But will there ever be another package? Despite her newfound resolve to face the box, it's still all shrouded in mystery. Asking a classmate or an adult about another world could work, but she definitely doesn't want to do that. They'd probably roll her eyes at her, and she also feels that speaking to anyone about this would somehow spoil it. Even if she has decided not to go there anymore, her memories of those worlds are still dear to her. She doesn't want those memories to be made fun of or dismissed as impossible. That day, the friends she usually hang out with all just so happened to be busy and went home early. She wanted to go home too, but she felt that staying in her room for too long would drive her insane. There's still time before sunset. Yomichi rides on a train. Oh, she's going. It's been a while since she's last been to this part of town. As she flows with the crowd out of the station, her mind at first is blank. But little by little, a thought starts budding in her mind. She remembers what the moon world looks like. There's something that has always confused her. If there's no moon in this world, how does she even know what the moon is? That's what I'm saying! She already knew about it before going to the moon world. A yellowish, round celestial body that you can see at night. And even if they don't know about the moon world, her classmates know about the moon too. Maybe they learned about it in some picture book, or in a textbook, or in a novel. But then again, why would people in the moonless world write about the moon? She lets her thoughts flow freely as she moves with the crowd. Huh. Oh, a puzzle. Okay, the city is always full of people. You can never see the same view twice, and memorizing all that you see would be impossible. If you close your eyes for a second because of a passing car with its blinding headlights, when you open them up again, the view has already changed. It's a blue word. Yomichi likes how fluid and ever-changing the city is. Here? The view. As she strolls, her mind comes up with a different view than what her eyes are seeing. A forest of lush trees, a roaring, splashing waterfall, the waves on the beach. She doesn't know if she's ever actually seen any of those things before. Splashing? Splashing. She tries remembering what the city is actually supposed to look like. The crowded pedestrian crossings, the bustling district full of barkers, the damp alley. And of course, the street she's looking at now. If she doesn't keep herself grounded like this, she feels like she might lose it. Okay. There were two more. Car. A car runs through the street at a concerning speed. She wonders if she'll ever have to ride one herself. She doubts she ever could. Where are all these cars headed anyway? They surely all have different destinations, but they all move together in a huge flow spreading through the city. Flow. Then there was one more, the view. Wait, is that the same one? I think we have enough though. As she goes with the flow of the city, she eventually finds herself in a familiar alley. I'm not sure how there are different endings though. Maybe a final choice? The crowd gradually becomes thinner until eventually she is alone. She has gone with the flow so far that now she's stranded by herself in a place she doesn't know. This isn't even a rare occurrence for her. She could keep walking some more or just go back toward the station. But on second thought, she does know this place. She's been here once before. It's the street where she once saw a girl that looked like Madobe. Remembering that, she wonders if it could possibly be true. She wonders if Madobe could actually live in this world. A lot of things have gone through her head since she received that package, but she finally realizes something. The delivery meant that someone else in this world knew about the moon world. But what if that someone was Madobe? Maybe she only lives here during the day and goes there at night like Yomichi used to. Madobe said that she lived in the Moon City. Can that really be trusted? You don't finish, put it back to the fridge. Now Yomichi is alone in the alley. It's the same alley as back then, but it feels different. Maybe because it's a different time of the day. After hesitating for a while, Yomichi starts walking. Assuming that walking around here she could run into that girl again, and assuming that the girl was indeed Madobe, what does Yomichi even want? She wants to see her again? She believes that it would be better not to, but at the same time she wants to see her again and talk to her again. In any case, she starts walking, to see Madobe or to be sure once and for all that Madobe is not here. However, this is going to end. She can't leave now. She keeps walking. Bright as the sky becomes red before starting to turn dark. Yomichi sees a girl in front of her. The girl she has seen so many times in the moon world is now in front of her in an alley in her own world's afternoon. Hey! Yomichi calls out as she goes after her. You think it's her? Ah, end of chapter 3. Also, that's faster than I thought. There's only 4 chapters. We're 2 hours in. Even with me reading. The first thing to lose their shape are the shadows falling on the street. As their contours blur, so does the whole city. The concrete walls look like they have become a thick, heavy fog. Heavy as it is, fog is just fog. Can't keep a building standing. Looking up, Yomichi sees the electricity poles turning into sand and slowly crumbling away. The faintest trace of wind is enough to blow away both the sand and the fog. Asphalt under her feet starts stirring into waves and eventually flows away. The city she knows so well from her day world is disappearing. Like the other worlds she visited at night. Huh. Houses and large buildings, which look so eternal, have crumbled away in an instant. Before long, Yomichi has no idea where she is anymore. The whole city is turned into a homogeneous mixture of sand and fog. And then the cloudy sky goes away. Not the clouds, the sky itself goes away. The sunset tinged canopy flies away. This is kind of wild, revealing the vast dark space behind it. The stars are shining over Yomichi's head. Ah, she's standing over white sand. It feels like she has just woken up. It's the same as when the night worlds disappear and she found herself awake in the day world, except this time the opposite has happened. Yomichi is in the desert on the moon. And in front of Yomichi, there she is. Madobe, who turned back when Yomichi called out to her, is standing there. The only things that haven't crumbled away are Yomichi and Madobe. Everything surrounding them has disappeared and then changed into something else. It all happened the second they locked eyes, as if the world was waiting for them to see each other. When she sees Yomichi, Madobe smiles like usual. If it isn't Yomichi. That is what it takes for Yomichi to fully realize that she is, in fact, in the moon world. More than the sand beneath her feet, and more than the vista surrounding her, Madobe's relaxed voice is what gives context to this whole place. It's been a while, huh? When Madobe laughs, Yomichi can't help but laugh as well. What's going on? Explain! Next story. The two girls are staring at the empty moon around them like they used to. What were you doing? The damp air filling the alley is nowhere to be found. But Yomichi knows that moments before she was in the day world, and that Madobe was there with her. Yes, what was I doing? Madobe starts sniffing. The desert around them smells moon-like. Then she smells her own clothes. Oh, I remember, she says, snapping her fingers. I was going to a coffee shop I like. It's been a while. Remember how I told you they changed their beans? Well, won't you know, they changed them back. Great. Yomichi can't look straight at Madobe's laughing face. And that coffee shop is in that town? In that world you were in earlier? Yep. You were in that world too. Sure was. Yomichi opens her mouth, but she doesn't find anything to say. She doesn't even know how she's managing to stay up on her feet. There must be hundreds of questions that she wants to ask, but she can't come up with a single one. She stays there in silence, staring at the black sky for a while. There's no point in looking at an empty sky. Looking at it for too long confuses her even further. She starts forgetting where she is, and thinking becomes that much more difficult. On the other hand, it helps her talk. You can go to other worlds too? She asks in a whisper, so low that anyone further away than Madobe couldn't have heard her. I can. Since when? Always? I'm not sure. Since when I was about your age, I guess. So you've been to worlds other than this and the one we were in before? Of course. Do you know about the coffee shop in the tunnel? I don't think I do. What about the floating island? Oh, what's that? Sounds cool. Yomichi can't say anymore. Her chest hurts as if an old scar had been ripped open. She has to focus just to keep breathing. She takes her time to think about what Madobe has just said. Alright, Madobe says after looking at Yomichi's blank stare for a while. I forgot that you're just, that age. Yomichi has no idea what she means. She cocks her head to one side and Madobe looks satisfied with this reaction. So you belong to that city. Belong? You were born in that world, right? Yeah, I think so. That explains a lot. It does? Yomichi still can't understand why Madobe is smiling. Madobe knows something and is going to explain it to Yomichi. It's probably something that Yomichi could never expect. She'd be surprised not to be surprised. But then she realizes something. Wait, she thinks. Maybe that one possibility she always considered was actually true. Wait. Yomichi stares at Madobe. Could it be that it's not just me? And not just you and me either? Madobe returns the stare, and that's enough to tell Yomichi that what she's thinking is right. Could it be that everyone can go to different worlds? Yomichi asks her question and holds her breath. This possibility had only crossed her mind unconsciously so far, but it had. I hope that's true. I hope that's not true. She finds herself hoping for both outcomes. Of course. Madobe gives her a slow nod. We, all of us, live in many worlds, not just one. That's it. That's true of everyone once you're old enough, about your age. When you close your eyes because the sun's too bright. When you space out walking in the middle of a crowd. When someone calls out to you all of a sudden. You don't know where you'll go and when, but you'll end up in another world. Adobe looks at the moon city far away. There are many different worlds with different kinds of people living in them. Of course, they can all go to all kinds of worlds. And sometimes they can meet with someone in two different worlds, like we did. But that's pretty rare. You're the first one I've ever met in two separate worlds. Yomichi is listening to Madobe's words as if in a daze. Really? Everyone? Like my classmates? My teachers? My mom? Yeah, everyone. Well, I guess you're a bit precocious though. Different people start at different ages. How do you know all of this? Who taught it to you? My parents. I was way younger than you are now. You probably don't know because you were born in that world. What do you mean? Do you know about the moon? Huh? I do. I don't mean this place we're on now. I mean the one in the sky. Yomichi turns to her imagination and sees the yellowish-white sphere rising once the sun is down. Yes, I do know about it. But there's no moon in your world, right? Yeah. A long, long time ago, everyone lived on a planet that you could see the moon from. Madobe starts sounding like she's reading a fairy tale. I think that they built the planet you're from to resemble that old planet. The cities, the way people go about their lives, it's all the same as that old planet. I don't get it, so what? They say that the people on that old planet couldn't go to other worlds, she explains, sounding as if she's trying to recall a distant memory, despite having never lived through it. Everyone was in the same world, day and night. I mean, it's just something I heard about, mind you, so I guess that over there, speaking about other worlds is taboo. Or a rule, you could say. like the rule that lets you skip in this world. That must be hard for girls like you, Madobe continues, looking slightly sad. Your world is a nostalgic one, a copy of the world before people could go to other worlds. That's why no one ever explained anything to you, neither your parents nor your teachers. I mean, even if they don't, you're bound to find out once you start doing it. But the people in your world just keep up the pretense. But what about you? You weren't born in that world? Me? No, I was born in that city over there. I couldn't go to your world before becoming an adult. But then, what about my friends at school? They don't know about this? That depends. Probably. Some do and some don't. Like some kids fall in love for the first time earlier than others. But why didn't anybody tell me this? Can't say for sure, since I'm not from that world. Madobe puts her hands on her hips and starts thinking. She also knows about Yomichi's day world. She's never been inside at school, but she's run into children about Yomichi's age several times. Think of it like this. You felt like you couldn't talk about it to anyone, right? So nobody heard about it from you either. Oh, I didn't tell anybody about it, yes. Yomichi feels like she's listening to a weird fairy tale. She understands, but she's having a hard time believing any of it. To Yomichi, hers wasn't a nostalgic reenactment of life in the good old days when the sky still had a moon in it. Her life was a normal thing, the only possible thing. I feel like I'm in another world. Because you are? I know. That's not what I mean. All kinds of thoughts are floating around in Yomichi's head. She can't predict what she'll end up thinking after she's calmed down. All she can do is stare at the desert of white sand. But among all those thoughts, one keeps raising its head over and over. So, everyone can go to other worlds. Yep. My parents, my teachers, my friends too. Everyone. So that means... She finally finds the words to say what she was thinking. So I don't need to live there forever? Madobe replies with a quick nod. Yeah, unless you want to. Yomichi feels something on her face. They're slow, calm tears. They feel like somebody else's. They're warm. She feels relieved and anxious at the same time. Happy and sad. She clenches the sleeves of her shirt. As her vision blurs behind her tears, she thinks back to the many worlds she's visited so far. Oh, even the background's blurring. Yomichi doesn't know whether Madobe saw her tears. She speaks like a parent talking to a child who can't understand a very simple concept. Nobody lives in just one world, except for when they're really young. People live in many worlds. They live in them? Yes, they do. So you live in that world and sometimes you go visit other ones? Not quite. Sometimes I'm there, yes, but I live in a whole bunch of worlds. I was born here, but that's it. It's not like I have to come back to sleep here every single night. It's just another world to me. I see. For you, your world is the one you spend the most time in. But that's just because you're so young. Eventually, you'll spend so much time in so many places that you'll feel attached to all of them the same amount. I wonder if it's the same for my mom and dad too. I'm sure it is. You don't know where they are while you're at school, do you? I don't. Sometimes they're with you, sometimes you're not. That's true of all people. Your friends, teachers, neighbors. There are times where you don't know where they are, and there are times when you don't know where I am either. Right? Right. Yomichi imagines that someone must have said these very same words to Madobe before. She still can't grasp this quite yet. To her, her world is the real one, and the other ones are just delusions that she stumbles into. Illusions eventually disappear, leaving nothing behind. But then again, she saw the day world disappear as well. I thought that my world, the world where I was born, was the only real one. I know. I used to think the same thing. But that's not true. It's not. It's the world in which you were born. That's all. So I have to live in a bunch of different worlds. It's not that you have to. It's just kind of happens since you can't choose what worlds you go to. Is it possible that I never managed to go back to the world I was born in again? I've heard of people like that. It depends on you. If you don't need to go there, you won't be able to. Even though I'm not the one choosing where to go? Yes. You didn't choose to come here, but you wanted to see me, right? It's not like I wanted to come here just to see you. Why is she being tsundere now? So you like the place? This empty desert? I do. So that's why you came. Madobe says that Yomichi can do what she wants. She's not being kind, nor is she being cold. It's just the truth. Yomichi is free to do what she wants. She can live in many different worlds. That sounds wonderful. But Yomichi can't just feel happy about it. There's a huge but lingering in her mind. But is that okay? What's with the huh? It's always you, Nos. Do I have to time you out? Yomichi manages to put her thoughts into words. Can I really live here and there in all these worlds? Can we really live if we're not all in the same world? Madobe looks into Yomichi's eyes. If we all live like that, then even if we're together, maybe the other person will go to another world right after that. Maybe they live in a completely different way and they think completely different things. By saying it out loud, Yomichi is trying to come to terms with what she's thinking. To her, having just one world to live in is normal. People can live together because that's the norm for everyone. They can help each other and try to improve their world. I don't know how to put this, but shouldn't people all live together and help each other out? As she says this with a sniff, Yomichi has to put in a lot of effort not to break into tears again. She breathes in as slowly as she can. She doesn't want Madobe to see her crying. That'd be embarrassing. Madobe quietly waits for her to breathe out. I see. You have a point. She said with a nod after waiting for Yomichi to stop talking. Why are there so many worlds? Why do we have to live going from one to another? I don't know. I wish we could ask the gods or our ancestors or something, she adds with a shrug. But you see, she continues with a warm smile. Wouldn't it be hard to all live in the same world? I'm not sure. It doesn't make a lot of sense to her. After all, that's what she had always assumed was true. Everyone has to live in the same place according to the same rules. Not much freedom, is there? Not that I think it's bad necessarily. But we couldn't do it, so we started living all spread out over many worlds. Probably. We? We who? Humanity? This got really big really quickly. Did it? Well, I guess it is big, Madobe says, scratching her head. Let's make it smaller then. Just about you, she says with a teasing laugh. Rather than only having one world, aren't you happier being able to come here and see me? Yomichi thinks about it for a while and then starts laughing. Indeed, that makes it all feel smaller. Insignificant, nothing worth worrying about. She looks up and wipes away her tears. Her damp face feels slightly cold. I guess I am. Of course, it's not insignificant. He still doesn't quite understand what living through many worlds means. She's not ready to think about whether it's a good thing or not. But she knows how hard it is to be forced to live in a single world. She hates to admit it, but she was often relieved when she reached other worlds. Maybe it's fine not to feel at home in a world. Maybe it's fine to treasure your time in the other worlds. She looks at the countless lights far away. She has never been there, but she knows it's a city full of people. They live there, but not just there. There's no single real world. Yomichi says, mostly to herself. Everyone has a lot of worlds they live in. Everyone has a lot of places they call home. Saying it helps her accept that reality. It will take a while longer until she can fully come to terms with it. She still can't believe that her parents and friends travel through worlds the same way she does. But at the same time, she realizes that it must be true. People are not strong enough or kind enough to all share a single world. They go from place to place, from connection to connection, living their lives. For a moment, she decides to stop worrying about other people and of scarily large concepts such as humanity. For now, she'll think about herself. Can I come here again? Of course. Madobe walks up to Yomichi and stands by her side. They walk together like they used to do once. Like they will always do when Yomichi comes back here time and again. Yomichi is excited about the future. The moon desert around her shows no sign of ending. Sad hot latte. Also, I'm not being mean. I'm just saying, like, read the room. Please. This game is so gorgeous and beautiful. And why are you disturbing? So this soundtrack is banger. I need this. Yeah, all of these music videos are animated by different people, I guess. It's really nice. Aw. I wonder how old she really is. Young adult, I guess. So good. I hope Twitch doesn't mute my entire VOD. Oh, that was great though. It was hard to say. I mean, English translation was great. There was definitely like typos here and there, but I wasn't expecting the English translation to be like the localization was good. Are there alternative endings? Because I remember seeing the Steam achievement and it's like, yeah, there's ending 1, 2, 3, 4. What do you mean there's ending 1, 2, 3, 4? How do you... Which ending was this? Oh, retry riddle? Post-epilogue? Wait. There's more. In the city at night, Yomichi finds herself thinking about... What? There's more! Okay, wait. She's walking through the city at night. It's been a while now. When she closes her eyes, the noise grows distant and a flurry of thoughts fills her mind. The desert on the moon... Coffee? The prairie? And the insect replica boxes. Oh! Are these the different endings? 1, 2, 3, 4? Okay, I'm really curious about the insects. Also, my mom gave me pickled mango. Sure, shower. There only happened to be a few people on the train. Yomichi looks through the window in front of her. She's ridden this train time and time again, but the view for some reason feels new. The business neighborhood with its tall glass pane buildings, the district with all its small liquor shops, then houses and apartments, and the closer they get to the next station, the taller the buildings become as a whole. The view in each neighborhood is so different that even though all these places are in the same city, they feel like different worlds. This difference would be accentuated even further if you were walking through them. You could see the smells, the sounds, and even the ways in which people greeted one another change. Once she has reached her station, she gets off the train. She's the only one doing so, which is a rare occurrence. Everything feels a bit different. Maybe it's the time of the day. She's enjoying a day off after a test week, but for most people in the city, this is just a normal weekday afternoon. However, the same city as always was awaiting her past the ticket gates. More people than you could count, with so many voices mixing together that you can't understand a single one. The sun mercilessly hits them after a short detour, being reflected off the building's windows. Crowd is exactly what Yomichi wanted. Suddenly, her nose picks up something. It smells like the moon. Lately, she's been able to predict what world she will go to next. Maybe predict is a bit of an overstatement, but she can take a decent guess based on what is around her and what she feels at the moment. And after her intuition suggests that she will, it doesn't take long for her to actually go to another world. Maybe what is around her and what she feels are conditions for her to be able to travel at all. I want to know what's up with the insects. Yomichi goes around a corner and into an alley shaded by the neighboring buildings. Crowd's voices are suddenly more distant. This is enough for her to feel alone, even though there are still people not far away. Before long, she's on the moon. She sniffs around, and sure enough, it smells like the moon. Ever since her discussion with Madobe, she has been traveling to other worlds more and more often at sunset. Just like she's been told, the time she spends in those worlds has increased as well. She still goes back to her world to sleep, and on weekday mornings she goes to school. She never goes to another world while there are people around. It only happens when she's by herself. She looks at the city far away and then remembers what she has in her bag. Here, Madobe. She takes a box out of her bag. It houses a replica butterfly. Oh, is it the white one that was addressed to her? This was delivered to my home a while back, but there's your name written on it. Oh, really? Madobe, looking slightly surprised, looks at the box. Should I give this to you? That's right. I confirmed the receipt of one wooden box, she says with joking seriousness as Yomichi hands it to her. What's that anyway? I guess you could say it's something you're supposed to deliver. Am I going to get more of those? Probably. So should I just bring them to the person written on them? Yep. What if it's someone I don't know? I don't think that can happen. You'll probably only get ones that you can actually deliver. Yomichi mouths a vague noise showing she understands. There's still so much she doesn't get, both about the Moon City and about the replica boxes. Even after Madobe told her about the truth of world traveling, she still hasn't spoken to it with her parents or friends. She can't be certain that her classmates travel through worlds the same way she does. I wonder how people first started traveling through worlds. This is her biggest question in all this. Traveling through worlds goes against all common sense in her world. After all, Madobe told her that people couldn't always do it. Madobe says, looking at the sky. I think this is the answer. She looks at the box that Yomichi has just given to her. Then she carefully opens the lid. The wind hits the butterfly's wings, making them flutter, or at least this is what it looks like. But there's no wind here. The wings flutter again, and then they keep flapping until the butterfly breaks free and flies out of the box. Finally free, the butterfly keeps dancing in the desert air. What even are these things? Let's see, how can I explain it? Madobe mumbles to herself. Yomichi has never seen her with such a serious expression on her face. They're like, yes? No, more like masters? Neither works. She keeps thinking to herself as the butterfly flies above their heads. It looks like a perfectly normal butterfly, except for the fact that normal butterflies don't come back to life after they've been pinned to the inside of a box. Yomichi imagines all the other butterflies in the boxes she has received so far. Maybe they also broke free just like this. How can I put this? Madobe looks as if she's given up on thinking. Long story short, they're aliens, you know? Yomichi can't even laugh at this. Madobe explained that a long time ago, all people lived in a single world. They wake up in the same world, work in the same world, and sleep in the same world. That was normal for them, and they had no other option. But a single world was too small for all of them, and this eventually led to trouble. Like, they didn't have enough spaces to build houses anymore, Yomichi asks. That too, but not just that, Madobe replies. She continues her explanation. What? Why? I'm not gonna carry pebbles onto the beanbag. Different people have different values. Every one of them wanted things to change, but in different ways. One world was not enough. You get into arguments with people too, right? Sometimes that's enough to make things right. But not always. If an argument between two people turns into a dispute between two factions, that can be catastrophic. Depending on how bad it is, it could even be too much for one world. The one world that everyone shares, to ever recover from it. Eventually, living in that one world all became too much for people. Of course, they ran out of space, but more importantly, they ran out of confidence. More and more of them started accepting the end that loomed ever closer, exacerbating the problem. And then, out of nowhere, these butterflies arrived. Madobe looks up at the one flying over them. It looks like a butterfly, but it's not one. It's not a replica, nor a dead insect, and the box it was in is not a simple box made of wood and glass. To use a simple, if not particularly correct analogy, the boxes are spaceships and the butterflies are spacesuits. The butterflies themselves are just being controlled by something else that resides inside of them. So they really are aliens. Seriously. Madobe doesn't know how the creatures inside the butterflies look like or if they are even alive at all. Nobody knows that. Maybe someone used to know it a long time ago, but the knowledge has since been lost. You could say that they come from another planet, or that they come from another world, or maybe from some other place entirely. Nobody knows. All we know for certain is that humans, in their despair, asked them for help. And it was them who gave humans the power to travel through worlds. And in exchange, we become their vehicles, Madobe says while showing the empty box to Yomichi once again. Their vehicles? Like trains, buses, airplanes. Actually, I think we're more like highways. You mean we're just roads? Yes, they know how to travel through worlds, but they can't do it on their own. We didn't know how to do it, but we had what it took to actually do it. Imagination. They taught us how to travel through worlds so that we could bring them around with us. People receive a spaceship, a wooden box, and bring it along while traveling to another world. Once there, the box opens and the creature inside can reach its destination. And even since we abandoned our original planet to start hopping from world to world, this is how we have been living. All the boxes I've gotten so far. Is that what they were? Yeah, they were aliens who wanted to go to your world. But this last one wanted to go from there to here. Nobody knows why the aliens want to travel through worlds that much. Could be part of their mission. Could be to do business, or they could just be sightseeing. Moreover, this doesn't really matter to people. They're just vehicles who are supposed to carry the aliens from point A to point B. And that's why we're all spread out through the worlds right now. Madobe gives the empty box back to Yomichi, who carefully examines it. No matter how many times she looks at it, it's just a box. This story, is it real? The butterfly flying over them looks like nothing more than a butterfly too. Yes, I swear. Well, I mean, I'm not sure. It's just what I've been told. It's a legend of sorts. So it could all be a lie. That's possible. Madobe nods, but then makes a different point. But looking at the world you were born in makes me pretty sure it's true. It definitely looks like you people are trying to make life look like it was before, when everyone lived in one world. You know about the moon, but you don't have a moon, right? I guess. Yomichi thinks about what she knows about the world. After talking with you, I started thinking that maybe the mountains and the sea were the same too. It's a small planet, entirely covered in cities. You leave a city and you're already in the next one. There's no sea, no mountains. But we know about those. We have books about them, stories about them, and so on. Makes sense. Yomichi feels like she's come very far. The world she has always lived in is exactly like the old world Madobe described. Everyone lives together with no mention of the other worlds. It's not easy to start believing in the world being abandoned or in aliens coming to save us. Sure, it explains certain confusing things like the moon, the mountains, and the sea, but it doesn't sound very reasonable. And if what Madobe said is true, it means that the life Yomichi is accustomed to is doomed. Or rather, that it was already doomed a long time ago. But why couldn't people all live together? As far as she's concerned, sharing a single world isn't that scary of a thing. You know, when there's too many people around, stuff happens, right? I'm not so sure. At school, for example, she has classmates that she goes along with and ones that she doesn't, and having to spend time with the latter can be unpleasant. But that's just a small issue between two people. Difficult to imagine how it could involve all of humanity. Maybe you should watch Attack on Titan, Yomichi. How do humans feel when they turn to other worlds? She remembers a heated argument she once had. After that, she locked herself up in her room and started crying. The idea of talking to people was terrifying, and she wanted to remain alone forever. She wanted to escape to somewhere far, far away. Maybe the people who spread through all those worlds were feeling the same. Maybe. But, she says, looking back up, even if we're divided into this many worlds, we're not all alone. The butterfly seems to have flown away. I met you. I met other people. I'm living while meeting all of you. She looks around, but there's no sign of the butterfly anymore. You're right, Madobe says while looking at the sky. It's a huge black sky. Makes you feel all alone in the huge black cosmos. But you're not. I don't mind it then. Yomichi looks at Madobe's profile. She tries thinking back to the first time the two of them met, but she can't remember. Their meeting was too much of a normal, unsurprising thing to be memorable. Even if we have all these worlds, it'd be lonely if I had to live all by myself. At this point, Yomichi is mumbling to herself more than she's talking. But Madobe heard her, and with a smile, she casually says, "You're right." How do I say this? This is a very Japanese kind of story to tell. They look at the sky with the butterfly no longer in it together. They keep chatting. You used to be able to see the moon from the world where people lived a long time ago. That means that from the moon, you can see that world as well. If this was that moon, what would that planet look like? What would that lonely world look like? As she stares at the empty black canvas above her head, Yomichi lets her imagination run free. Aww. Oh, this is ending 4. Okay. So there are the other choices are all the different endings. That's nice. Hmm. Again, a very Japanese kind of story to tell. I don't know how to explain it. Very artsy, very like Japanese kind of story. It's very, thinly veiled allegory about life and purpose and creativity and whatever you want to like apply this metaphor to, that kind of story. But at the same time, they always gotta infuse some sort of weird fantasy sci-fi twist. Not that I'm against it. This was very nice. It makes me psyched to go and check out the other game that I was talking about earlier. It came out like a couple of years ago. It's called VR OFK, I think. And it's a interactive album sort of thing, which kind of reminds me of this. It was this is more of a visual novel than anything. There isn't really like gameplay per se. But it was really nice. I like going through the like it, games that are more like interactive movies, you know. And I'm definitely gonna add all these songs to my playlist. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it there because I'm not gonna play through the other endings. If you wanna go and find out some of the other endings, you can go and check it out yourself. The game is not that expensive, um which makes sense for the length of it. But at the same time also like I think it's just nice if you like this kind of like artsy experience. I think you'll I think it's worth looking into. Also, I really just want to make this into my wallpaper. It's so pretty. Okay. Now, unfortunately, that's it for my stream tonight. Um I have to wake up early tomorrow and my day isn't exactly over. I've still got some things that I need to settle tonight before my event day tomorrow. But if any of y'all are going to be at Animangaki Friday or Saturday, I will be there. I think Sunday is the only day that I'm probably not going. But I'll be there Friday, Saturday. If you see me, just come and say hi. I honestly I should be at the Magic Rains booth most of the time. Probably sitting there in my laptop and working, to be honest. But yeah, it was nice to take like a couple hours out and finish this game. It was a good time. Okay, I already know we were gonna rate as well. Also, thank you for your patience today, guys. I know this is not like my usual type of game, but it is the kind of like game and story that I like really enjoy. it's not like the best, most interactive, crazy like stream experience or whatever, but it's nice, you know. It's nice to play games and consume media that makes you think a little, puts you in this like melancholy headspace. I like it. And as much as I hate reading visual novels on stream, mm, I don't know. I've been told that people like hearing me read, so I hope people in the VOD enjoy this. Anyway, let's go and rate Justin. It's going to be like a vastly different experience because he's playing one of those first person dating simulators. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be totally different from what we're doing. But I hope you have a good time there. Justin's also a fellow Cham drinker. Also, please go and check out the other upcoming Cham drinker collabs. I'm very excited for Monday when I'm back from event. We're gonna be playing My Lovely Empress, which will be a bit more chaos, morally dubious. Yeah. Anyway, good night.